You take two executives in the business. You take me, you take Puffy. Biggie.
You take two leaders in the business, you take me, you take Puffy. Big Deal was hot as an eye, like being on the receiver, like when we had got hit with Hit 'em Up I needed to make the guest big deal. And I said we won't answer someone will get injured in a dangerous disclosure that has sent shockwaves to the music business, the murkily hidden secrets, encompassing the downfalls of notorious rappers Tupac's happen, and the famous B.I.G. have been aired out, supposedly uncovering industry head honcho Diddy in a new and disputable light center was shot here in Las Vegas, is saying something regarding the reestablished manslaughter examination. Howdy everybody. And welcome back to Celeb Lived Avert. During the 90s, the infamous quarrel among Tupac and Big Deal represent the noticeable East Coast-West Coast contention, and their disastrous and convenient destructions have for quite some time been dependent upon hypothesis connivance and passage. Now David Mack, a previous lapped official with a supposed association with the lethal schemes, and a discolored standing from his crook, takes advantage of has chosen to surface from his shadowy presence, uncovering enigmatic subtleties that might actually ensnare Diddy in the 10 years. Helps all secrets individuals were beginning to say it's East Coast-West Coast competition. Since it was individuals simply attempting to bring in cash, it was trippy attempting to make professions. There's kin attempting to get renowned. David Mack needs a defender of Los Angeles residents, ended up on the opposite side of the law, carrying out a 14-year jail punishment for a bank burglary prior to blurring into lack of definition post-delivery in 2010. In spite of his upset past, murmurs have long whirled around his expected contribution in coordinating the death of Christopher Wallace aka Big Deal Smalls, perhaps at the command of Death Row Records' Suge Knight. The tricky insights behind these allegations have evaded examiners, leaving the narratives of Tupac and Big Deal saturated with unsettled puzzlers and speculative thoughts. I suppose if eventually B would have been waiting for capital punishment, since we was pushing a line that was about him. However, presently inside this maze of secret associations and covert communication sources had arisen, painting a nuanced picture of the contentions and coalitions that characterizes the rap business during the wild 90s. Macintosh has allegedly ended his quiet divulging a fountain of possibly extraordinary experiences, proposing a labyrinthine organization of benefit-driven treacheries and quiet fights for control inside the music business, and indicating Diddy's essential arrangements. In the background, the enormous facets about Puffy getting the valuable chance to turn into a rapper due to Big Deal when the left Puffy would have been a rapper. The gravity of these exposures has reverberated significantly inside the business, creating a shaded area of uncertainty and control over Diddy's distinguished lifetime, and compelling a reassessment of the connections and clashes that molded a time. Murmured disclosures imply fundamental pressures and expected movements and loyalties, with Biggie conceivably considering a fantastic shift away from Diddy. An individual conscious of these strains commented Big Deal was conflicted between loyalties and desires. The business was overflowing with stifled murmurs regarding his potential shift, a move that would have modified the melodic scenes. These unpretentious divulgences have started intense discussions, prompting reassessments and reshaping view of loved industry figures. Like Diddy, the freshly discovered center around Macintosh's unforeseen exposures has generated innumerable hypotheses and discussions among fans, and the business the same about the legitimacy of the cases and their suggestions on Diddy's intricate snare of expert connections and joint efforts. So Puffy advantage more by Big Deal not being in the Big Deal being here. David Matt, a focal figure associated with Big Deal's destruction, has uncovered frightening experiences covering figures like Diddy in shadows of doubt and implied arrangements of contention decimations. It is from Mac's surreptitious conversations and murmured admissions that we assemble a brief look at the maze of mystery and control characterizing the business during the 90s. Macintosh has been referred to as uncovering. I've seen the concealed know, the obscure the music business, its secret partnerships, the quiet conflicts in the background. I've seen everything while reality, in Mac's disclosures, stays obfuscated in vulnerability. The data he purportedly unveiled draws an existence where Diddy isn't just a famous music big shot, yet possibly a genius, winding around complicated trap of trickiness and technique. This depiction of Diddy proposes a determined conniver equipped for drastic actions to get his inclinations, and is a long ways from his public persona as Big Deal's companion and coach in this undercover dance of shadows. It is suggested that Diddy could have coordinated quiet promises of revenge and furious fights for matchless quality. My life is some of the time you need to truly go with that choice in your stomach, one of the most fracture among Big Deal and Diddy, a contention apparently set apart by Big Deal's possible change in devotion from Diddy to Suge Knight. This would have had significant ramifications on the music scene of the 90s, a period currently steep in extreme contentions and concealed wars. A source near Big Deal revealed Big Deal was grappling with his loyalties and his aspirations. The business was abuzz with smothered murmurs regarding his conceivable great shift, a shift that would have reclassified the melodic scenes to the supposed strife among Big Deal and Diddy, assuming validated, uncovered the concealed fights and secret grudges inside the business, extending Diddy as a person possibly fit for depending on thoughtfulness wrongdoings for financial and upper hand. You see Diddy, you see Suge Knight, and afterward a ton of their associates down there, yet Tupac Biggie at the top in this perplexing situation. The lab's examinations keep on, uncovering a horde of associations, likely intentions and doubts, including previous officials like Macintosh and their connections to Death Row Records. These examinations uncover unpredictable connections, alluding to more profound ramifications and inconspicuous associations in the misfortunes that stunned the music world during the 90s. Lawful delegates, including Knight's lawyers, have fervently excused these speculations and claims as ridiculous, supporting the conundrum and discussions encompassing these occasions. Yet who precisely is this David Mack, and what is realized about him? Digging into the tempestuous past, we dare to unfurl the shadowy associations of David Mack, a previous Los Angeles cop. Before his vanishing post-2010 delivery, Mack served 14 years in a correctional facility, sentenced for a bank burglary, including the stunning amount of $722,000 a corridor, which remains untraced. Mack's thought in the Big Deal case had been a spotlight figure in this tangled story, with insightful ringlets contacting Death Row Records pioneer Suge Knight, investigating prospects of a vile cooperation, investigating prospects of an evil collab activity to coordinate infamous Huge's death in 1997. This unpredictable plot turns into a significant concentration because of Mack's point-by-point openness to Knight, and Death Row Records are scored by gossipy tidbits about Macintosh proposing to coordinate off-the-clock security tasks at Death Row, and signs of his attendance at the death scene verified by, again, colleague Damian Stewart Proof, recommending Mack's vicinity to a dark Impala indistinguishable from the vehicle spotted at the crime location further escalates the interest whirling and steadily fixing web around him. His many-sided connections likewise stretch out to Rafael Perez, one more official entangled in lab debasement, known for his unlawful trips in relationship with Macintosh. Notwithstanding their noticeable fellowship, Perez has stayed hush, swearing off embroiling Macintosh in any wrongdoings, consequently supporting a demeanor of secret and doubt around the entire issue. The path back to Macintosh divulges a progression of supposed organizations, famous episodes, and obscure endeavors incorporating claimed relationship with other lapped officials, reputed to blend with death row partners. One of them, Kevin Gaines, met his end in a different irrelevant occurrence, abandoning a variety of unanswered inquiries and disrupted dust around the covert lap death row organization, investigating further into the maze of VIP clashes. At unfortunate endings, it is fundamental for note the constant hypothesis around Diddy's job in this risky ground of distinction competition. And Vendiva insiders murmur of urgent undisclosed subtleties exposed by Macintosh, portraying the occasions prompting the less than ideal destructions of Tupac and Big Deal. It was a choice that the city was sitting tight for me to make you understand what I'm talking about, so he got to look great going into it. Since right now in the public's eye, he don't look that great brother Mac's inspirations. Stay as mysterious as the occasions, he describes swinging between a quest for truth and dismal traces of coercion, passing on the crowd to contemplate over the complex dance